So Valiant, one of the first things I want to talk about, and I don't know if you know, I think you know a little bit about real estate, right? You have a little bit of a real estate knowledge and kind of real estate background, right?
From a financial business perspective, yeah.
From a
Yeah.
business perspective, yes. So, I mean, you're aware of, for example, owning property versus, for example, licensing IP to that property, or maybe owning a leasehold, or you know, maybe having some sort of other interest in that property other than owning that property outright.
Sure.
Right? So I don't know if you knew this, but in China, nobody really owns property in China. So technically,
Correct.
the Chinese government is the owner. You lease the property from China, right? Under the condition that, you know, you have to renew it, number one. And number two, if you do anything that pisses off the CCP, they can take their land back and use it for whatever they want, right? If you piss them off, or they need to use it, or they say they
they also get to consume the vast majority of the revenues generated on such property, even if you're operating the entire business.
Yes. So there you go. So, like, for example, if Disney was thinking of running a theme park, or really anything, it could be Universal or Disney or whatever, right? Let's say they're thinking of starting a theme park in Kazakhstan, right? You could do it one of two ways, in my mind. Let's say Universal wanted to open up Harry Potter World Kazakhstan, right? They could do one of two things. They could say, we're going to build the park ourselves. Go there, own the property, own the underlying property. We're going to build it. We're going to own it. We're going to operate it. We're going to do all that ourselves. Or they could license it. They could essentially franchise it, just like you would with the McDonald's, right? You could say, okay, we're selling you the brand. You have the brand. You can operate this brand. You can use our IP. We just don't want to operate it. We want to deal with the local bullshit. We don't deal with Kazakhstani officials. We don't deal with translating. We don't deal with union issues. We're not going to deal with it as a company. And honestly, frankly, as a corporate counsel, and I want to hear your point as a financial side, but as a corporate counsel, I would never say go to a foreign company and the first thing you jump to is wanting to own the land. I just wouldn't do that, because the risks of that local market, especially a growing market, an emerging market, especially, frankly, I'm gonna be straight up, a fucking communist government. I'm not going to say go own the land. I wouldn't say let's open up Universal Caracas in Venezuela. I'm not going to say that, right? Because that's fucking insane. I would never, as a lawyer, I would never say, company, go do this. Can you see a financial reason for a company to go into a country, and I guess they don't technically own the land, right? Because everybody leases, but to say they operate it, they control it. Why would they do that instead of licensing it to a third party or licensing the IP? Can you come up with a financial reason why they might do that?
Well, in the case of Disney, and again, from the standpoint of, does Universal or Six Flags or Cedar Rapids or anybody else operate a theme park in mainland China, in communist China? No. There's a reason for this. Disney's kind of weird. Okay, Disney, you can look at their corporate structure, you can look at their history, the way that they've done mergers and acquisitions over the years, like when they bought Fox, when they bought Lucasfilm, when they bought Marvel Entertainment, and all this other kind of shit. Disney they have to have autonomous control over everything, right?
That's
they don't like to license out to a third party to do something. And if they do, they license out to that third party with an incredibly restrictive set of stipulations to where they basically are going to own and run everything that third party's doing. Good, quick case in point is, when I was growing up, I had a very good friend of mine while I was in high school. Her parents still own, a very successful novelty company. They make plush toys and items, and now they supply a lot of the Mardi Gras crews, the vast majority of them, from my understanding now. There was a time back then that they were approached by the Walt Disney Company. They were approached, and they wanted them to produce Disney plush toys for them. Disney basically offered them fuck all when it came to money, but they were promised them the volume and all this kind of stuff. Now, wisely, my friend's dad looked at this and went, this is untenable.
Right.
I'm not going to make this work. And he walked away and of course, after that, we saw a lot of these little small independent toy companies that got lured in by saying, well, we're a Disney supplier, right? And they got fucked. It was basically the point. This was like back in the Eisner days. This was way back when. This was before Iger and everybody else. So that's kind of how they operate. Now, when in the case of China, to make the point, is that this is how big of a carrot that was dangled in front of Disney, right? Is to say that you're going to have access that nobody else has to a country with 1 billion people in it. Okay?
Right.
And that was the promise, was to come in here. Yeah, you're not going to own anything. Yeah, we can at any point that the CCP decides. I mean, if China kicks Disney out tomorrow, there's nothing Disney can do. China will still have Mickey Mouse and all the characters there. Disney will get nothing off of it, and there ain't a damn thing they can do about it. But it was this notion that it was like only Nixon could go to China, right? Spock's line from Star Trek 6.
Only Iger could go to China.
Yeah, only Iger could go to China in this case. Not Nixon. Now we got Bob Iger. But it was the same fool's gold. Okay, and Disney had to invest, a ton of money there, and basically not own any of it. That capital investment was all just in good faith. Which here in the U.S., good faith means one thing, especially when you have a contractual, stipulation of performance, right, for both sides of the agreement.
Right. You have an enforceable contract. You have something like if you renege on it. If, like, for example, I sold property to Disney and I was like, I'm just kidding, that was a lease and I'm taking my property back. They will sue my ass, and they would sue the company I represent, and they would probably recover if we did something shady. But when the CCP is in control, and when they have a legal system that's a complete sham, they don't really have a legal system.
It's effectively a unilateral contract, and the only degree of enforcement in China is the CCP putting a bullet in your head.
Right.
That's it. I mean, let's call it what
if you object, right?
If you object, right? You sure you want to cause a problem? I mean, that's it. And there's no other recourse. So Disney went in there with this goal in mind. And look, if I'm Chapek, and I know we'll get to that subject soon. Look, whatever happens at this point, I wouldn't put another penny of resources into China, to the parks. I'd do very little else because there's a high degree of risk. And how many movies since the COOF started has Disney gotten into China?
None, almost, right? None.
No, Jurassic World is over there. They got Jurassic World Dominion over there. Spider-Man No Way Home didn't get over there. And that was Sony, granted.
Did they get Doctor Strange?
Nope.
Yeah, there you go.
Nope.
So they don't got shit.
They don't got shit. So at this point, it's like if the CCP were to come in tomorrow and assume command of all the properties, which they already have, and just kick Disney out, I mean, technically, it's nothing really coming off of their books because they really don't have any equity there, or at least it's paper equity, but they don't have any real equity there.
Right.
And that's why you haven't seen, like, Universal didn't run out and try to say, well, can we get into China? Can we get in on some of this?
They went to Japan. They built Osaka. They built a new theme park in Osaka. That is completely different.
Nintendo Land is coming to Orlando. So
yes, it is coming to Orlando. I helped make that deal happen when I was representing a firm that worked for Universal. And that's pretty public. I worked for a law firm that represented Universal.
Just way to wave your dick around on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, I did all the property, a lot of the property stuff. I worked with others at my firm, and there was like partners on this and stuff. But I was on the team that did all the land deals for the new park, which is going to be pretty fucking crazy in Orlando.
Yeah, we've had some aerial shots of that construction going on recently. I think
the location is so good. It is insane. It's right by the convention center. It's going to be.
And now they got the high-speed rail coming right there.
Yes, it's not high speed. It's like medium speed.
Well,
like high speed is what we have in Asia.
Well,
you guys
have
not
like 300 miles an hour, but I mean, from the Orlando airport directly up to the front door of the parks. And like Drunk 3PO on his channel, Park Hoppin', was talking about this today. And I think WDW Pro, who you've got that Park Place article up here.
So this is WDW Pro. This is that Park Place. Just wanted to bring up the article that was at this because I like to give credit where credit is due. And I know you're friends with WDW Pro. You've had him on your channel before. So, I mean, good article, great article. Disney may be looking for ways to lower Chinese investment. This is a little while ago. Like I said, stuff that happened this month and I haven't had a chance to comment on. But this is like key into my core competencies. I would have said, why the fuck did you have Chinese involvement in the first place? But it's like you said, Valiant, Disney does not like to delegate authority. They like to control everything. They like to either have contractual control or actual control of everything, which is their personal problem. But why do they do it? It's exactly what you said. Here's the quote from Bob fucking Iger, who, as we're going to get to, is the source of a lot of these problems. Bob Iger says, Disney is uniquely suited for success in China. We didn't build Disneyland in China. We just built China's Disneyland.
That's it. We built China's Disneyland.
It's like giving it to China.
We gave you all of our IP, and they're literally just giving them all their IP for free. That's what it amounts to.
Am I wrong here? Okay, so I actually have not been involved in this one, so I did not know. Hold on, I may be wrong here. Guys, I am wrong. Universal Beijing did a test operation in a soft opening in September 1st, 2021. But I think that shit's been shut down. Like, I do think that's not. I don't. But think
Universal doesn't have the same kind of IP that Disney has that they would drop in there in capital, and I think that's why they did it. I was like, Universal, I think, started getting wind of, as most other parks should, is that when it comes to we have to put up the $5-10 billion. And we have it could be taken out from under us in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
that's high risk.
And I'm not positive. And guys, I did not work on that one at all. Like, that was actually after. I think they started working this after I left the firm that I was at. So I need to look more into it. But I would be surprised if they didn't have some sort of contingencies, unlike Disney. They're much more business savvy at Universal. But thanks, guys, for pointing that out about Universal Beijing. Yeah. Singapore, by the way, is much different. Singapore is a very capitalist country with entirely enforceable laws. Like, the Singapore law is very good. Like, you do not fuck around with Singapore. That's the government, by the way. If you spit out gum, they will cane you. They don't fuck around. Singapore is very, very, very much a rule of law place. And guys, like I said, Daniel says Andrew's honest. Yeah, if I fuck up and I see something, I point it out. And you guys got me on that one. So thank you. Appreciate it. But
that's why, because I don't think it's quite the same as what Disney is. And that's why I was saying that, is because they have the branding over there for that, with like the Harry Potter stuff, but it's not nearly to the same level of capital investment from my understanding. Not even close to what Disney has done.
Yeah, and I'll look a little bit more into it, guys, because like I said, I always will do my research and I'll go and look into it. So I'll definitely do that. Danielle says Singapore is Disneyland with the death penalty.
Yeah.
But a little bit more about this. So this is just kind of talking about what happened to McDonald's in Russia, because this is a big thing that happened in Russia. Think about the war that we just had with Russia. Well, not war, but economic. We're having an economic war, right? We're blocking them off. We're sanctioning them. We said, hey, Aeroflot, we're not giving you parts, which is causing problems for them. But we also had brands in Moscow, in Russia. And what happened to the McDonald's there? This is a good sign of what could happen to Disney, right? Staple items such as burgers, fries, and drinks were reportedly served in plain white packaging, while customers who order their food to go were given their owners in brown paper bags. So the to-go orders were just brown paper bags, and they were getting plain white packaging, and they were rebranded as I can't say it's Vushno and Puchka, which is tasty, and that's it. So they just rebranded them, gave them a new logo, and that's it. So this is what can happen, and they're still selling. Like I said, they're still selling the Big Macs. Right? They're still taking the IP. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to have Biden complain? You have sue him in the international courts? I hate to break it to you guys, but those things don't actually work, right? You can sue them all you want in the international courts. If they don't pay, they don't pay.
Especially when Hunter's managing $1 billion of assets from China. Oh wait, we don't want to.
Oh wait, you're not supposed to talk about that. You're not supposed to talk about that, Valiant. You're gonna get in trouble now. The hookers are gonna come for you. No. You're gonna end up with Ghislaine, or Epstein if you're unlucky. So yeah, that's the crazy one. By the way, because Mike says, by the way, thanks for the normal time. No, I'm gonna do these normal times when it's people who are Eastern Standard Time, like Valiant, who are not up at 5 a.m. Eastern. Right, because they're
4 a.m. my time. That's when I usually get the DMs. I'm like, oh, he's going live. What time is it? It's 3:55 a.m. I'm like, fuck you. It's like, I'd love to come on the show, but it's
just
like,
in case.
I'm
It's just
gonna
in case.
sleep at some
It's
point.
just in case. Don't check your phone. Don't check it till you wake up. It's just in case it's go on and you're up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the direction there. I think that's a piss poor. It was a piss poor thought. It just shows that, hey, you were simping for the market. You were simping for capturing the Disney market, which I think what they wanted to do, and this is my segue here to the next topic, I think they wanted to do that with their content. I think with their content, they did a lot of editing to make China happy. They did a lot of filming in China to try to make sure that we got, they got into the market, because one of the Chinese rules is you either have to do something for China, like have a back and forth with them, or film a certain amount there, or have Chinese actors in it. There's all these requirements to get access to Chinese.
They changed their minds from one film to the big thing with China is what they
that's
like.
That's why I'm not set on it, because it changes, right? Because it's
want
like, but it's something.
Big action monster things. So like that's why Jurassic World Dominion got in. Big dinosaur monster stuff. That's the kind of American films that they want to bring into their market. Transformers. That's the kind of films they want to bring into their market. Fast and the Furious, same kind of thing. Big, giant, stupid, crazy action things. They're not going to let, and this apparently no longer includes the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So
why do you think that is? I mean, why do you think that is, that it no longer includes the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yeah, well, there was a few things. Now, of course, we had the COOF. Before that, there was no issue. Then the first pieces of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that came out in Phase 4, which was 2021, after the COOF and the theater started opening up. The first movie that the MCU dropped, which I said early on, I'm like, this is a bad idea, was Shang-Chi. Now that was a movie that they specifically made.
They tailor-made
to appeal to China, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not Disney, Kevin Feige was so stupid in casting Simu Liu in that role. Nothing personal against Simu Liu, but his parents are, according to the Chinese Communist Party, they are defectors. And they moved to Canada, and then Simu Liu in 2017 or whenever went on Canadian broadcast television, where he was living at the time, where his parents fled from China to, and went on there and basically referred to China as a third world country. There was no way in holy hell that China was ever going to let that movie into their country. I don't know what Marvel was thinking. So that was strike one. Strike two was immediately after, when they came out with the Eternals, and Chloe Zhao, who was the director, who did an independent film that I believe won Oscar for Best Picture. She's a very capable, talented director. The problem is she's also persona non grata in China, according to the CCP.
Yes.
So at that point, it just kept like the thinking in this from Marvel's perspective to get into that market, which, by the way, I've never understood, because I mean, unless you're making $300, $400, $500, $600 million in China, let me tell you what. Chinese box offices, you say, oh my God, I made $200 million in China. Great. That means that the studio and the distributor took home about $40 to $50 million of that $200.
Yeah, because and
the CCP keeps the rest.
That's what the CCP is keeping way more money in China than the governments are taking in taxes in other places, right? Because obviously there's taxes and other things that governments will take around the world, licensing fees, whatever.
The average international take home, like if you have a US based film, so let's take Top Gun. Top Gun has made about $500 million internationally. Doesn't include China. They didn't get into China either. Which who cares? But that $500 million internationally means that about 43% of that, on average, is coming home to Paramount.
So you're getting 43 cents on the dollar back home, from international on something like Top Gun. You're getting 43 cents back.
If Top Gun had had 100 million of that in China, like Jurassic World Dominion is about 115 million in China right now. Universal's getting about 20 to 25% of that. Not 43, but 20 to 25.
That is really bad. I mean, that's like half essentially of what they get on anything else.
Yeah, less than half. Yeah.
I mean, that really, yeah. So I mean, that takes your 1 billion market really down to a 500 million, right? I mean, that's
if you have a movie that comes out that's heavily loaded with international box office, and especially if it's got a heavy loading in China, it ain't making what you think.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that. And of course, it's not nothing, right? I mean, it's not zero. I mean, whether
Right.
it's 46%, even 20, it's not zero. However, is it worth having to sacrifice making that a good movie? That's the question. See, is you could if you could have made a good movie but for China, and it can make more money in the United States and even in those other international countries, Europe, UK, Australia, freaking even the Kiwis might like it. All three of them. I love you, Kiwis. Don't hate me on that one. But it can make money elsewhere other than China. Then why not just say fuck China? Right? We're not going to do that. I mean, I know, but they're afraid. They're afraid for their Chinese interests. They're afraid for their investments there, and obviously they're afraid for the parks because it only takes one wrong move or wrong comment for them to come cracking down on Shanghai. And actually, I mean, Shanghai and where's the other park? Is there one in Hong Kong? I forget. But yeah,
Disney.
the other Disney. Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, I think that they have Shanghai Disney, and then they have another one.
Hong Kong Disneyland. Yeah, they have Hong Kong.
It is
Disneyland.
Hong Kong, but I think it's much smaller. It's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's smaller. It's on like on the Lantau Islands. Yeah.
It's very, very different.
But obviously, Hong Kong is like much more limited in space, right? Because it's a fucking small area.